In a world obsessed with Silicon Valley billionaires and Wall Street tycoons, there's another kind of empire, one built not on code or credit, but on cargo ships, oil drums, and metal mines. You won't see these men at Davos or on magazine covers, yet for half a century, they've quietly decided who gets fuel, food, and power, and who doesn't. They are the commodity traders, the hidden architects of the global economy. The story begins in the aftermath of World War II. Nations were rebuilding, resources were scarce, and global trade was chaotic. Out of this chaos emerged a new breed of businessmen, pragmatic, daring, and morally flexible. They weren't producers, they weren't consumers. They were middlemen, ready to bridge desperate sellers and eager buyers no matter the politics. No figure embodies this era better than Mark Rich, a young trader at Philip Brothers, a metals house in New York. In the 1970s, when most traders followed the rules, Rich saw something others didn't: that chaos could be profitable. When Arab nations declared an oil embargo in 1973, prices skyrocketed and most companies panicked. Mark Rich didn't. He quietly brokered deals between embargoed countries and desperate buyers, finding secret routes for crude oil to move across borders. He broke every convention, even US sanctions, making fortunes while others froze in regulation. In 1974, he left his employer and founded Mark Rich Co. in the sleepy Swiss town of Zug, the birthplace of what would later become Glencore, one of the most powerful commodity firms in history. The 1970s and 80s were the Wild West of oil trading. Nations nationalized their resources, and oil companies were shut out of markets they once dominated. That left room for independent traders, men who could move millions of barrels across unstable borders, often with a briefcase and a handshake. Mark Rich and his competitors dealt with Iran during the revolution, South Africa during apartheid, Cuba under embargo, and dictators across Africa. To them, politics was just noise, a barrier to be navigated, not obeyed. Rich's mantra was simple: there's no such thing as illegal, only unprofitable. His company became legendary, both admired and despised, for its ability to find opportunity in every crisis. Why Switzerland? Because Switzerland offered discretion, no questions, low taxes, and access to the world's banking system. By the 1980s, Zug had quietly transformed into the capital of the shadow economy, home to dozens of trading firms, each moving billions in oil, copper, or grain. These traders operated in the gray, not quite illegal, not quite transparent. While Wall Street sought regulation, Zug sought secrecy. And that secrecy became a weapon, protecting traders from governments, journalists, and sometimes justice. In 1983, Mark Rich's empire nearly collapsed. US authorities charged him with tax evasion, fraud, and trading with the enemy, specifically with Iran during the hostage crisis. Rich fled to Switzerland and never returned to America. He became the most wanted white-collar fugitive in US history, yet continued to run his billion-dollar firm from exile. His company survived, even thrived, protected by Swiss neutrality and global demand for resources. When Rich finally sold his firm in 1994 to his employees, it was reborn under a new name, Glencore. The next generation of traders took over, hardened, secretive, and vastly richer. The pioneers like Mark Rich didn't just create companies, they created an entire system, a world where private traders could rival governments, where supply chains spanned war zones, where the real power lay not in owning oil wells or mines, but in controlling who could access them. Their legacy still shapes the planet today, from the fuel in your car to the metal in your phone. But behind every deal lies a question: when profit comes before principle, who truly pays the price?